regarding the vaccination or the much hyped vaccination of animals. Clearly, we're dealing with something that was not ordinary and normal. Vaccination of animals has not been a new thing in this country. Animals are vaccinated and are usually handled by departments. But a nationwide, one-time vaccination of animals has never happened in this country, unless where we have got quarantines. And the quarantines are not new. Towns like Karatina are a corruption of the word quarantine, because they used to be major quarantine centers. And so, when we came up in this particular state, I would like the statement to really get out of where we are being persuaded to go, and tell us what was the emergency that required the head of state to personally take up and run with this particular vaccination program. What were the intentions? What were the expected outcomes? Because it was totally out of the ordinary. We shall have periodic vaccinations when there are outbreaks of diseases and what have you. But I cannot recollect a day when there was vaccination driven from State House. So that vaccination from State House is the elephant in the room, not just the question that we are whether or not animals will be vaccinated. Even today, animals are being vaccinated. I also would like to support the Lekina that we have got very many fake products on the markets. I don't know how the standardization or the inspection of these products are done, but there are many fake products and many farmers have fallen victim to buying these products and administering to their animals, and they don't get the desired results. Associated with that is the cost of vaccination. Vaccinations have become very expensive, and ordinary farmers, most ordinary farmers cannot afford them. You even found when you have got the county governments, you'll find that county government officials who are employed to serve the public, at times those veterinary officers turn around and charge for their services. Some tell you we have gotten this, we have gotten that. On our own, so we are charging a fee. So we would like to also those kind of things to be looked into, and we be told why would a government employee during office hours, performing the duties they are employed to perform, add a fee of consideration to the services they are giving. The other thing is qualification of veterinary officers. I had an incident personally where I lost more than 100 goats over a period of about 1 month, depending on veterinary officers in Busia trying to come and intervene, until somebody said, why don't you try somebody, and then they get given all manner of theories what could be happening. They ended up saying it was the climate, that was the climate change was affecting the goats. Now, when I went to Kari Naivasha, I called Kari Naivasha and they told me, can you give us a picture of one of the animals? Just send us a picture by WhatsApp. And when I sent a picture, this fellow said, oh, this is the problem and we must intervene immediately. And they sent somebody from Naivasha to my farm, and in no time, that problem was contained. So what makes me wonder is what kind of veterinary officers do we have in Busia, who of 1 month could not resolve a simple viral infection that required a kind of intervention. So other than fake vaccines, we have fake veterinary officers who are purporting to be doing extension work or helping farmers here and there. So the committee may also want to look at the criteria of employing people to serve in county governments in this very, very critical area. And related to that, the veterinary officers, in terms of animal diseases, we have got the meat inspection officers, an area that is largely neglected, but one that is extremely important, given the current trend whereby you have got transfer of diseases across species from animals to human beings. we need to look at the question of the remuneration, training, and other aspects of equipping meat inspectors to be able to do scientific work when they go out to inspect the meat our people eat. So there are many areas within the animal industry that will go along with because vaccines are about diseases in the industry that need to be looked into. There's a statement on the Shif and Sha. I would have loved to contribute to it, but unfortunately I'm litigating it in court. And I've noticed that a lot of the issues raised here are before court. And maybe the Secretariat might want to guide the committee on how to deal with it, given that some of those issues are being litigated in court. But that being as it is, it's an extremely important case that needs to be looked into about the cost of this platform, and especially in light of the confirmation, I don't say the finding, the confirmation by the Auditor General of things many Kenyans have been saying and complaining about, and of the government not raising a finger. And I would like them to go about, there are 3 funds under the SHA. There's only one fund which is being debated or discussed in the public discourse, and that's the SHA, the Social Health Insurance Fund, the Shif, Social Health Insurance Fund. There's a fund for primary health care and there's a fund for emergency health care. These 2 funds, in the construction of the Act, you don't see how they are being fed, where they are getting their money. And it's like designed that the money will come from the consolidated fund. Now, when you look at Article 206 of the Constitution, you'll find that all money raised by government is supposed to be deposited in the consolidated fund, except where Parliament excludes that money to go into special funds. So I would like the committee to look into that issue and tell this House, when that act was made by Parliament, and we created a fund, who is not being resourced? The Chief, as we are debating and fighting it and whatever, it's designed that it will be funded from premiums, which people will pay. That's okay for setting up a fund in terms of the law. But the 2 other funds do not have a mechanism of feeding them or resourcing them. So where will that money come from? It cannot come from the consolidated fund because Article 2, Clause 6 is an absolute bar. It says where Parliament sets up a fund, it must also set up a mechanism. Parliament can set up a fund to exclude money from going into the consolidated fund. It does not say that Parliament will set up a fund to draw money from the consolidated fund. And yet, under the share arrangement, we have 2 funds designed to get money from the consolidated fund. What is the information? What informs that kind of disregard for the Constitution? And if you go further and look at the Public Finance Management Act, go further and look at the Public Finance Management regulations, you find that they underscore that word that if a fund is set up, it must be resourced by the legislature. The Parliament must say where the money will come from. So as the committee looks at this particular issue of Shif, rather it is SHA, not Shif. Shif is just one of the funds. SHA is the act. You have the Social Health Authority Act, which is the umbrella law. You have the Social Health Act, which also creates Social Health Authority, under which the Social Health Insurance Fund is created as one of the 3 funds. And in this particular case, I'm trying to help, I want the committee to focus on these 2 other funds that are lying there, that are hidden in the law, and that are designed to get money from the consolidated fund. How that will be done, I don't know. And I hope it will not be considered that they are what we would call, which are anticipated under Article 223 of the Constitution, where we have got unforeseen circumstances, where then a supplementary budget can be made to provide money to unforeseen circumstances. I hope those two funds are not placed there as unforeseen circumstances that will be used to draw money from the consolidated fund. The question of transport, the statement by Professor Agenda, Port Victoria, not Port Victoria, in Kisumu, the Kisumu port. I'm sorry to have used the word Port Victoria because, you know, Busia has got a lake and Port Victoria was in Busia, not in Kisumu. So I'm a bit confused there, but Professor raises a very important point in terms of the Kenyan economy as a transit economy. Our economy is largely a transit economy. If you look at what we call the economy of Kenya today, is where the Uganda Railway passed. The railway passed from Mombasa going to Uganda. That's where we have what you call the Kenyan economy today. So that corridor is very important. When you look at the traffic on that road, on our roads, the most common vehicle is the trailer, carrying goods into the hinterland or carrying empty containers from the hinterland back to the coast. Kenya's place of advantage is being challenged by the emergence of Tanzania, the ports in Tanzania. We should also wake up and look at the fact that the Tanzanian territory is largely flat and it's easier to transport across. But the Kenyan territory is a bit steep. You have to cross the Rift Valley, you have to go, and when you go to the Ugandan side, it becomes a bit steep. So we need to look at how do we expand our infrastructure. The standard gauge railway, the meter gauge railway, and the roads. We should not neglect the roads. We should have a deliberate move to dual the road from Mombasa to Nairobi to Nakuru, and then branching off to Kisumu and to Eldoret, then to Busia from Kisumu, and to Malaba from Eldoret, so that we can preserve our comparative advantage over.
Senator Omutatta, due to time, I would have to ask you to conclude so that we can give the other two senators who want to speak on the statements.
I'm well guided.
An opportunity, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So that by dualing these roads, we continue giving, we invest in efficiency to be able to compete with the natural terrain that Tanzania has. We have got this other road that goes through Namanga. If you look at the Kenyan side, the road funded by the same funder, the Tanzanian side, the road is wider, the road is smoother, the road has got no potholes. On the Kenyan side, the road is already breaking up, the road is narrower. Who cast us? Why are we having this? So let us invest in this infrastructure, knowing that our country cannot even produce enough food. We provide on the service industry. We must also go back and focus on the LAPSET. Open up the northern corridor so that we can have another artery of business from Lamu, going all the way and opening up to those sides of Somalia. So let us take that statement very, very seriously, knowing that with the emergence of strong economies in the East Central Africa, with them also manufacturing things that we have been manufacturing in Kenya, our lifeline might remain in us being to transport things affordably, cheaply, and of course the corruption on our roads. We have to crack down, we have to eliminate corruption, we have to make sure that the non-tariff barriers to transporting through Kenya, insecurity and what have you, goods being stolen, are taken out. The government should promote the establishment of proper garages along the corridors so that when trucks fall down, they're able to be serviced. And in Busia, there's a big piece of land in a place called Elechom, behind, just transversing the border, it's about 300 acres. The government should consider putting up a trailer city on that piece of land so that we don't have congestion on our sides. Trucks can drive without non-stop, they get there, then all the procurement can be done, and they simply cross over to Uganda, instead of having our roads cluttered with congestion and what have you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, I support the motions I've commented on.